Here's part 1 of your HFY Sci-Fi story. Title: Earth Missed Every Galaxy. Meeting then parked 1,000 warships in orbit. Part 1. The Empty Seat Approx. 800 words, simple English, third-person style, clean and engaging in the center of the Milky Way, on a peaceful and shining planet called Zephyros. The Galactic Unity Council met every 100 years. Over 700 alien species gathered in a large crystal hall. There were tall creatures with wings, glowing beings of light, and even talking plants. They all shared one goal: peace and cooperation. Inside the hall stood a giant round table. With one seat for each race, all seats were filled except one. That lonely chair was marked with a golden plaque that said, Terran Origin, 001 Earth. It had been empty for 3,000 years. Most aliens didn't talk about it anymore. Some even forgot what Earth was, but some still laughed when they passed the empty seat. Those humans never showed up, said a blue-skinned diplomat from the planet Vornok. Maybe they're too primitive to use a warp drive, joked another, or they destroyed themselves long ago, added a third with a grin. Nobody had ever heard from Earth. No ship, no message, no reply. Meanwhile, far away on the edge of the galaxy, Earth was not silent. It was listening deep under the Atlantic Ocean in a hidden base called Terran Command Center 1. Admiral Kira Monroe stood in front of a large screen. She was calm but focused. Her uniform was gray and simple, marked only by a single blue star on the chest. On the screen played a short alien news broadcast. A round green alien laughed as he pointed to Earth's empty seat. They still haven't joined the council. What are they doing down there? Planting trees? The recording ended. The room went quiet. Admiral Monroe looked at the other commanders sitting around her. 3,000 years, she said softly. And this is what they think of us. General Park, an older man with white hair and a robotic arm, nodded. They have no idea what we've built. They thought we were sleeping, said Captain Lin, the youngest in the room. We're getting ready. Admiral Monroe pressed a button. A new screen lit up, showing a map of the galaxy. Hundreds of red dots blinked on the outer edges of known space. Each dot was a Terran warship. Hiding in silence, waiting, she turned back. To her team, prepare the fleet, she said. It's time we attend the meeting. On Earth's moon, giant doors opened on the dark side. Silvery ships shaped like arrows rose from the craters. Engines hummed with silent power. On Mars, war factories activated. Robotic arms loaded supplies. And power cells. On Titan, a fleet hidden beneath the ice lifted off, breaking through clouds of methane. Humanity had not been idle. For centuries, they had trained, built, and watched. Earth had survived world wars, disease, and disaster, but it had also discovered unity, peace, and strength. Now, after thousands of years of silence, humanity was ready, and they were bringing 1,000 warships with them at the Galactic Council Hall. Strange signals reached the planet Zephyros. Alien technicians rushed to their screens. Unidentified ships entering warp space, said one. From the Terran zone? Another asked in fear. Yes, hundreds. No, wait, over 1,000. Panic spread through the hall. What do they want? Why now? Should we call for defense? But no attack came, no weapons fired. The Terran Armada exited warp space in perfect formation, floating quietly above the council world. Ships stood like statues, black, sharp, powerful. Their lights blinked in rhythm. The largest ship, marked ISS Vindicator, hovered at the center. Then, a voice came through every communication channel in clear galactic standard. Apologies for missing earlier sessions. We're here now. Council stood frozen. The seat marked Earth was no longer a forgotten symbol. Now, it was the center of every eye in the galaxy, aliens whispered. Some were afraid. Some were curious. A few were angry, but all of them were now watching Earth, back on the Vindicator. Admiral Monroe stood on the command bridge, looking at the shining planet below. She smiled softly and said, "Let's show them what humans really are, the stars." Around them sparkled. For the first time in history, Earth had arrived, and they weren't going to be ignored anymore. End of part. Would you like me to continue with part 2? The Warfleet awakens in the same style next. Here is part 2 of your HFY Sci-Fi story. Title: Earth Missed Every Galaxy. Meeting then parked 1,000 warships in orbit. Part 2. The Warfleet awakens approx. 800 words. Simple English, third-person style, clean and engaging. The silent fleet waited in orbit above the Galactic Unity Council's homeworld, Zephyros. The 1,000 human warships were not hidden anymore. They were proud, strong, and very real. In the Great Council Hall, panic and confusion filled the air. Alien leaders from many species hurried to find answers. "What do they want?" asked Ambassador Threx, a reptile-like creature with sharp eyes. "Why now, after 3,000 years?" added Ambassador Vela, a being of soft light. The council was used to talks and negotiations, but this was different. Earth had made a loud, clear statement without a single word, just their powerful fleet in the sky. On the bridge of the ISS Vindicator, Admiral Kira Monroe stood tall. Her eyes scanned the stars beyond the large windows. Her voice was calm but strong as she spoke to her officers. "We are not here to fight," she said. "We are here to show we exist. To ask for respect." Commander Diaz, the fleet's tactical officer, looked at her. "But Admiral, some species might see this as a threat." Monroe nodded. "They might. But we didn't build this fleet to attack. Built it to protect." Behind them, crews worked fast and quietly. The ships were ready to move at a moment's notice, but the order was to wait far below, on Zephyros. The council prepared for a message from Earth. When the communication channel opened, a calm voice filled the chamber. "People of the Galactic Unity Council, I am Admiral Kira Monroe of Earth's Terran Defense Armada. We apologize for missing your meetings for so long. Come now, not with weapons raised, but with hands open." Her hologram appeared large and clear, standing firmly in the empty Terran seat. She continued, "Earth has faced many struggles, wars, disasters, and darkness. But we survived. We built strength in silence. Now we are ready to join you and to share what we have learned." The council listened carefully. Some members whispered among themselves, "This is unexpected," said Ambassador Zell of the aquatic species. "They speak with honor and peace, but their fleet is massive." "Yes," said Ambassador Threx. "Their ships could destroy many worlds, but will they?" asked Ambassador Vela. The question hung in the air. On Earth, Admiral Monroe had prepared for this moment. She had trained her crew to be patient and respectful. Her next words in the message were firm. "Humanity does not seek war, but we will defend ourselves and those who cannot protect themselves. We ask only for friendship and a place among you." The hologram of Monroe paused and then smiled gently. "We missed the meetings because we were not ready. Now we are." Tensions in the council grew. Some species felt fear. They had seen power used to conquer before. But others were curious about Earth's sudden rise. Ambassador Lyra, a diplomat from the starflower planet Ina, stepped forward. "Admiral Monroe," she said, "your arrival surprises us all. We welcome your peace. But tell us why build such a large fleet if you desire friendship?" Monroe's hologram replied clearly, "We build strength so we never need to use it, to keep Earth safe, and to show that we mean what we say. Peace must be backed by power, meanwhile hidden far from the public eye." Some alien groups whispered plans of their own. Not all were happy about Earth's arrival. A secret council of powerful species watched the broadcasts and grew worried. "Humans could change the balance," said one. "They might become too strong," said another. "We must watch them closely." A third warned. But for now, Earth's fleet remained peaceful and silent, waiting. Back on the Vindicator, Admiral Monroe met with her officers. "We've made our first move," she said. "Now we must wait and listen." Captain Lin, who had trained on Earth's space station, smiled. "I believe they will accept us, Admiral. They cannot ignore 1,000 warships in orbit." Monroe laughed softly. "We don't want to be ignored anymore. Not ever." Outside, the stars continued to shine. The galaxy held its breath. For the first time, Earth was no longer alone. It had a voice, had power, and the galaxy was beginning to understand. The humans had come back, not as weak newcomers, but as a force to be reckoned with. End of part 2. Would you like me to continue with part 3? Humanity speaks in the same style next. Here is part 3 of your HFY Sci-Fi story. Title: Earth Missed Every Galaxy. Meeting then parked 1,000 warships in orbit. Part 3. Humanity speaks approx. 800 words. Simple English, third-person style, clean and engaging. The crystal towers of Zephyros sparkled under twin suns. The sky above still held Earth's warfleet, silent, strong, and unmoving. 1,000 ships stood like guards of a forgotten kingdom, inside the Galactic Unity Council Hall. All eyes were on the human hologram standing at the Terran seat. Admiral Kira Munro's image flickered softly in the light. "Let me speak simply," she said, her voice clear and calm. "Earth never refused to join. We never even knew about your invitations." The council chamber was silent. For over 3,000 years, we focused on surviving. Our world nearly died many times. Wars, firestorms, ice, hunger. But we held on. Some council members leaned forward. Others whispered quietly. Monroe continued. "We were alone. We had no allies. So we built ourselves from the ground up. We studied the stars. We learned your languages by capturing signals. And we prepared just in case the galaxy wasn't as kind as it claimed to be." Ambassador Vela, a being of gentle light, floated forward. "But why the warships?" She asked, "Why not just send a message?" Monroe nodded. "A message can be ignored, 1,000 ships cannot." Murmurs filled the room again. Some were impressed, some were afraid, but others listened with new respect. On the bridge of the ISS Vindicator, Admiral Monroe stood watching the live broadcast. She wasn't nervous. She had practiced her speech for months. Beside her, Captain Lynn smiled. "They're listening, Admiral. I can see it in their faces." "Yes," Monroe replied. "They expected a wild species. But they got something else." In a private chamber within the council hall, the inner circle gathered 12 senior ambassadors who guided the galaxy's greatest decisions. Ambassador Threx, the lizard-like warrior, crossed his arms. "They bring peace in words, but power in action. Can we trust them?" Ambassador Lyra from Yenna shook her head. "They could have attacked, but they didn't. That says more than anything." Ambassador Zell, the water dweller, tapped his glass chair. "They speak of protection. Maybe the galaxy needs protectors." Silence followed. Then one voice broke through, steady and thoughtful. "Let us ask them more," said Council Leader Heron, a tall, blue-skinned elder. "Let them answer fully." Back in the main hall, Monroe's image stood ready. Council Leader Heron rose from his high chair. His voice echoed. "Admiral Monroe, Earth's strength is clear, but we must understand your heart. What is it that humanity truly wants?" Monroe gave a soft smile. She didn't hesitate. "We want what every species wants: peace, safety, a future for our children." She stepped forward in the hologram, her gaze strong. "We came with warships because we know the universe isn't always fair. We came with open hands because we believe it still can be." A quiet hush settled over the chamber. Ambassador Lyra stood. "Would you offer help to other worlds in need?" she asked. Monroe nodded. "If they ask, yes. We've seen suffering. We won't stand aside if we can help." Ambassador Threx stood next. "And if someone threatens the council," Monroe's voice grew firm, "then Earth will stand with you." The outer edge of the hall, young alien diplomats whispered excitedly. "They're not like the old stories. They speak like leaders. They're not conquerors. They're guardians." Later that day, the council held a private vote. The question was simple. Should Earth be offered full membership in the Galactic Unity Council? The vote passed. Not everyone agreed. But the majority saw truth in Earth's actions and their words. A public announcement followed. Across the galaxy, beings of every kind watched as the council leader spoke. Today we welcome Earth not as strangers, but as survivors, as builders, as protectors. Their seat will no longer be empty. On the Vindicator, Monroe listened to the announcement. Her officers clapped and smiled. Some cheered softly. Few even had tears in their eyes. "We did it," Captain Lynn said. Monroe nodded slowly. "Yes, but this is only the beginning." Back on Earth, in cities and spaceports, people watched the news. For the first time in history, humans had a voice in the galaxy. It's not just a voice, but a seat. A little girl in Nairobi asked her grandmother, "Does this mean we're not alone anymore?" Her grandmother smiled and said, "No, child. It means we finally came home." End of part 3. Would you like me to continue with part 4? Trials and Shadows in the same style next? Here is part 4 of your HFY Sci-Fi story. Title: Earth Missed Every Galaxy. Meeting then parked 1,000 warships in orbit. Part 4. Trials and Shadows approx. 800 words, simple English, third-person style. Clean and engaging weeks had passed since Earth was welcomed into the Galactic Unity Council. Their seat was no longer empty. Humans now had a voice in the galaxy, but not everyone was happy. In the shadows of far-off systems, 5 powerful alien species met in secret. These species had long controlled trade routes, energy crystals, and council votes. Earth's arrival threatened their quiet power. "They speak of peace," said Lord Sherrick, a creature with 6 arms and silver skin. "But they brought warships." "They act noble," hissed General Voon, leader of the Shadow World, Kregna. "But their fleet is too strong." "They must be tested," said High Seer Elk, whose glowing eyes saw future threads. The 5 leaders nodded. A plan was formed. Not a war, but a quiet strike. On Earth's flagship ISS Vindicator, Admiral Keir Monroe reviewed updates with her team. Things looked peaceful. But Monroe had been a soldier too long to believe in peace without tension. "Anything unusual?" she asked. Captain Lynn checked the data logs. No threats, no movements near the fleet. But Monroe looked at her. "But what?" "There's been strange activity in the Council network. Spikes in the data stream. Hidden code." Monroe's face turned serious. "Show me." Key. In a hidden lab on Zephyros, a small human team worked with Earth's artificial intelligence system, Sentinel. The AI was fast, sharp, and trained to notice dangers even humans missed. Within minutes, Sentinel found the truth. A powerful virus had entered the Council's systems. It was designed to corrupt Earth's communication files. Humans appear dishonest, cause mistrust among allies. The code was advanced, but not advanced enough. Sentinel caught it, reversed it, and sent a message back through the source. Now, Earth knew who had sent it. Admiral Monroe stood before the full council the next day. Her words were direct, but calm. An attack was made against us. Not with weapons, but with code. A virus meant to poison trust. We did not respond with fire. We responded with truth. She sent a signal to the council. Instantly, the screen showed the names of the 5 species behind the attack. Gasps filled the room. Ambassadors turned to stare at the accused. "We do not seek revenge," Monroe said, "but we ask for justice, because truth matters more than fear." The council was shocked. The vote for punishment was quick. The 5 conspirators were banned from leadership seats for 100 years. They lost trade rights and access to shared data. It was a strong message. Earth would not be pushed aside, but Monroe didn't celebrate. She walked quietly back to her ship that night, looking at the stars. "They fear us," she whispered. Captain Lynn walked beside her. "Because they don't understand us." Monroe nodded. "Then we must teach them, not with fear, but with action." The next day, Earth made a bold offer to the galaxy. They sent ships to help repair damaged systems across 5 struggling worlds. They offered energy-sharing technology to poor colonies. They opened free schools on neutral planets to teach science, engineering, and history. One human ship even landed on a mining world where robots had gone rogue. Instead of destroying them, the crew reprogrammed the machines and rebuilt the colony. Across the galaxy, aliens watched in wonder. These humans helped strangers. They could have attacked, but they offered aid. They're stronger than we thought, but also kinder. Even the species who once feared Earth began to soften. Ambassador Threx, who once doubted Monroe, now spoke in her defense. She leads not with power, but with principle. Ambassador Lyra smiled during her next speech. Earth teaches us that peace is strongest when it walks beside strength. But Admiral Monroe knew the truth. There would always be shadows in the galaxy. There would always be those who feared change. One evening, she stood alone on the observation deck of the Vindicator. The stars glowed softly around her. Captain Lynn joined her. "You think more enemies will come?" she asked. Monroe nodded. "Yes, but we're ready." She looked up at the sky. "We came late to the galaxy. We missed the first meetings. But now, we're here, and we're staying." In the darkness of space, 1,000 Terran warships waited, not to conquer, but to protect. Earth had passed its first test, but more trials would come, and humanity would be ready. End of Part 4. Would you like me to continue with Part 5? The seat is no longer empty in the same style next? Here is Part 5 of your HFY Sci-Fi story. Title: Earth Missed Every Galaxy. Meeting then parked 1,000 warships in orbit. Part 5. The seat is no longer empty. Approx. 800 words. Simple English, third-person style. Clean and engaging, the Galactic Unity Council's great hall was brighter than usual. Flags of many worlds fluttered softly in the gentle wind from open windows. Today was a day that would be remembered. Earth's seat, the long empty chair marked Terran origin, 001, now held a proud new symbol, the blue and green flag of humanity. Admiral Kira Monroe stood quietly before the council, her eyes steady and calm. Today, Earth was no longer the silent outsider. Today, Earth was part of the galaxy's future. Months had passed since Earth joined the council. The galaxy had changed, not all at once, but in small ways. Earth's fleets helped rebuild star systems damaged by storms and war. Earth's scientists shared discoveries of new energy sources. Earth's teachers opened schools to teach peace and technology. Alien children learned about Earth's history, the struggles, the survival, the strength. But the most important change was something unseen: trust. For the first time, many species began to see humans as more than warriors or survivors. They saw humans as partners, as friends. Council leader Heron spoke in the hall. "Earth's arrival has tested us. It has shown us that strength with honor can build bridges." The hall filled with quiet applause. Admiral Monroe stepped forward. She spoke simply, clearly, her voice steady. "We were late to join you. We missed the meetings. But we have arrived not to change the galaxy by force, but by choice." She smiled softly. "We choose peace. We choose friendship. We choose to protect the future." Outside the hall, thousands of aliens watched the ceremony on screens. Some wiped tears, some smiled proudly. A young alien girl from Vienna held her mother's hand tightly. "Will humans protect us?" she asked. Her mother smiled. "Yes, they will protect us all." Back on the ISS Vindicator, Monroe looked out into space. She knew more challenges would come, more trials, more tests. But she also knew something else. Humans were ready, because Earth had come from struggle, from darkness. And now, Earth was the light many had waited for, in the quiet moments after the ceremony. Monroe met with her officers. "We have a place now," she said, "but our work is just beginning." Captain Lynn nodded. "We will show the galaxy what humans can do." Monroe smiled. "And we will never let our seat be empty again." Far beyond the stars, in a distant system, the 5 conspirators watched the ceremony on hidden screens. Lord Sherrick's eyes narrowed. "They grow stronger," he said. "But so do we," whispered High Seer Elk. The galaxy's future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Earth was no longer the forgotten world. Earth was home. The stars shone brightly. A new chapter had begun, and humanity was ready to write it. End of Part 5. Would you like me to help with anything else, such as character details, world building, or maybe turning this into a full story?